Hello everyone, this is Brandon, and welcome to a preview of a little project I've been working on. It's a top-down dungeon crawler, a local multiplayer dungeon crawler, and basically it involves having three players working together to work through and complete through a dungeon, while a one player is on the mouse and he has to kill them all before they reach the end. So basically, what I've got going right now is I have three different classes in the game. I've got the warrior class. The controls are really simple. It's just up, down, left, and right, and then the action key, which is the attack button, basically. And you can move in 8 directions, and you can even attack in 8 directions as well. So there you go. I'll show you the bow class. The bow class is a little bit. You just basically hold down the action key, and then you just release. And obviously, you can charge up your attacks, and the same thing goes when you're the warrior class. As you can see, it is not a spin attack, but is a half, a 180 sweep, I guess. So instead of a 90 degree, and it does more damage. So the bow class gets a piercing shot, and then the mage, he charges up his magic, and he cannot move while charging his attacks. So those are the three classes, and as you progress through the game as the heroes, you collect gold from enemies, which upon killing them, they will drop gold, and you use that gold between like certain intervals of the dungeon sequence to go to a store and either buy health or buy a level up. And there are 3 stages of leveling up, or I'm sorry, you level up, you cap off at level 3. So this is level 2 warrior, level 3. Yeah, and there's obviously that's essentially it. So I guess I'll go ahead and show you the DM. Actually, I can show you the enemies first, I guess. So I got the basic orc enemy, and obviously he's not really bright, and they drop gold. I'd added the knight class. I just recently added the ability for him to attack, so if you get too close, he'll actually slice you. He actually missed there for a second. There you go, now he hit me. And he's quite resilient. Right now I have it so you can interrupt his attack, so you can actually combo him. So that's currently what I have going for him, but maybe I'll have it so he'll still continue his attack. So basically he won't flinch. So right now I'm flinching him constantly. He can't start his attack, so that's what I'm debating on right now. Then I added the shield enemy. Obviously you can't hurt him while a shield directly. You have to hit him from the side or from behind, or diagonally behind because of the 8 directions. So I'm trying to kill this guy off fast. Come on. There we go. Alright. And then I added the zombies. Basically, they come in huge packs. They're not very strong. They're actually really easy to kill. And they don't drop gold. So, they're intended to be spammed. And I'll show you that in a little bit. And of course, I added the skeleton archer. He just kind of, he shoots arrows. And they're pretty easy to dodge. But when you actually are in a pretty tight situation, it's actually really difficult to deal with. So yep, skeleton archer, pretty cool. I really am proud of his AI, how he kind of wanders around while shooting. Actually, let me go ahead and get rid of this guy first, and you can of course die. And when you die as the hero, if you're playing cooperatively, if anyone manages to get to the store, everyone is revived at full health, but they lose half their gold. So that's kind of what I've got going right now in terms of punishment and in terms of like allowing other players to get back in. And gold, by the way, is split, so it's not every man for himself. If one guy gets gold, everyone gets that piece of gold. So it's completely gets rid of all the extra stuff that could really frustrate players. And yeah, I should probably also say the warrior has the most health. The bow class has the best speed in the game. I don't know if that's clear enough, and then of course the mage has the highest damage, but he's very vulnerable. He's one of the most vulnerable classes in the game. But I just recently sped up his charge speed, which is those 3 flashes, and so that's really cool. Am I boring you guys? I hope not. Anyways, let's get back to the did I show you? Oh well, yeah. Let's go ahead and show you what the DM can do. So the DM is obviously this mouse cursor, and he can interact with anything that has a purple aura to it. So if I left click on this thing right here, since it's purple, it shows I need 1 mana, so I'll left click it once, and now it is selected. So if I want to confirm my selection, I need to left click again. and it looks like it's a auto fire trap, so it will constantly shoot arrows. And it sounds really cheap, but it actually really isn't, because it's very predictable. And if the players really are good enough, I think it'll only serve as a kind of like a gap closer. So if you select something once, you can right click to unselect it. So that's really all it is. And the DM also will be able to choose one spell at the beginning, as the other players will be able to choose their hero. There are only 3 characters, by the way. And the DM can choose different spells, and the idea is when he right clicks without anything selected and holds right click, there'll be like a little charge attack, and that'll cast like a spell. So that's like kind of meant for stopping, for like using it against if they're camping or something, or like just all grouped up in a really tight spot, so it's really hard for the mobs to get them. So that's kind of like the DM's way of displacing them. And that usually will probably cost more mana than an actual trap, but yeah. Let's get to more toys, shall we? So the DM can also use this spike trap. Actually, I can show you. Yeah, when it's flickering, it's not during the phase when the spikes are coming up. It's right when it starts flashing is when it actually hits the player, just so the players get a little bit of time to react. But it's still pretty fast. It's not too cheap. And then I'm trying to figure out ways to visually, make it easier for the player to understand, how many like times you can cast something. So in this case, I have the catapult selected, and now there are these 3 like dots. So you can see now I only have 1 dot left, and yeah, so that's castable 3 times. And it sounds really cheap, but it really isn't. I don't think so far. I think everything seems balanced, but I really do need to playtest that with some other people. So yeah, I think that hits you. No, the hitbox is true this time. I have that one as a true hitbox. Okay, I'll explain that if you're curious. So let me clear this room full of baddies. I also coded. I'm really quite proud of the wandering code. It's not the most difficult to understand in terms of how it's coded, but I just like how the AI actually kind of wanders around, and then you can kind of sneak attack them, but it's not really the point, So here's a ballista. Shoots 3 shots, and it kind of tracks with your cursor. So there you go. And then I'll show you the most recent additions. Here's a permanent spike trap that just that will stay there forever, but it, as you can see, has a very slow arming time. But again, if you use them in the right way, they can be really obnoxious for the heroes. So the most recent thing I just added are these statues, which allow the DM to actually summon minions with his mana. By the way, if you can tell, the mana bar, he obviously caps off at 10 mana, and this little like thin meter right here is kind of like just to show when he's going to be getting the next interval of mana, if that's the right word. So anyways, if I click on this statue, it costs 2 mana, so let's go ahead and left click only on purple tiles. Just so the DM can't completely. I'm gonna be a warrior. Actually, let me it's just easier just to show you guys quickly. So I have it so you can only select the purple tiles. I'm trying to figure out ways to make it conveyed more clearly without getting in the way, because when it does this, it's actually kind of distracting for the other players. So trying to figure out a way to maybe convey that a little more subtly. So I kind of like the way it looks right now when it's not selected, but I'm thinking of having like only the lighter edges of the tile be like lit up instead of the entire thing, maybe. But you can only summon, because obviously if you were to only place anywhere, I mean, you do get enough time to react, because they first have to warp in, and they can't be hurt while they're warping in, by the way. So yeah, that's kind of what I got going on. And then the mobs don't get hurt by spikes, because I think it would be more infuriating for the DM to have the players kind of stand on one side of the spike field, and then, as much as that might be interesting, that could get irritating maybe. But shield, you can spawn a shield, you can spawn an archer, and if you can kind of see this, so there's a bit of tactics for the DM already in terms of mixing up traps and mobs, so that it really kind of starts to overwhelm the players. But he does have to manage his mana very carefully, so that's kind of the idea. Knights, zombies are the cheapest to summon, and you can just spam them, which is really useful for certain instances. And I forgot to show one last enemy, which is the Phantasm. Just a mage. He just kind of shoots this piercing piercing bolt or like wave. I don't even know what it is, but it's pretty powerful. So, oh, and he's invisible. It's basically the wizard. You know, a lot of these enemies are based off of Zelda, so it's really not intended to be the most original. But I do try to take a spin on it, so it's not, so it kind of tries to maybe quote improve on it a little bit instead of being incredibly random or just making it a little bit more interesting, I guess. So, I mean, even though it's really basic, so. Yeah, that's pretty much the build of the game. It's again a top-down cooperative multiplayer. I mean, it does have the DM who has to defeat them. And the idea right now, well, so far the controls are all on the keyboard, but I hope to maybe be able to figure out how to make it so the players can bind the controls on the controller as well. So that ghosting doesn't happen. Ghosting is basically you can't press a certain number of keys you can't press more than like 4 in a certain way. So yeah, that can be really bad if 3 players are all pressing on the keyboard. Unless the keyboard doesn't have ghosting, then that's good. So yeah, I've got that, and then of course I have to add it so the DM can also select a mob, and he can actually buff him. And I just added the sprites just now. I just got to actually code it in and try to figure out how to actually make it so either as you select, it still works like a trap, like you left click the, whoa, that's a bug. That's not right. Either you left click on the mob and then you left click again to buff, or you just left click the mob and immediately buffs. But I think I might just do the double click system just to keep it consistent. There's actually a bug I was referring to, which is you can reselect this spike trap, and that's not good. It's not good. Yeah, see these guys. Yeah, I need to fix that. I know what's happening, but yeah, I just need to get rid of the. I need to have it check if the thing's already activated. That's all I have to do. The cursor itself is actually an object that's following the mouse, if you're curious. So, yeah, and that's the game. Let's go ahead and kill these heroes, because why not? As you can see, the DM, I mean, he can spam. Right now I'm trying to figure out mana rate, and I think I've got it down, but, I mean, it's really going to depend once it actually, like, plays out, because obviously, I mean, I'm one guy trying to control 3 different characters, so it's not the most easiest thing in the world to do, but it works. It's just I need to test that out once I've got a bit of a build going. So I basically just have to add the dungeons. I do need to add a boss. I'd say most of the development, most of the designs, and most of the overall core of the game is pretty much like near completion. I'd say I've gotten past the hill, if that makes sense. So it really is boiling down to just getting a little bit more of that extra content done, and I probably should be able to show you guys more if you want. Otherwise, I'll just kind of just mind my own business on the internet and just kind of make this game. So thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a comment about any questions or any features you're curious about. Otherwise, that'll be it. See ya.